My folks were divorced in the 50s. My mother took my other 3 siblings. I went with my father and went up to the mountains of a little place called Idlewild. And from there I lived with my grandmother, who was a praying woman, a real saint. My dad was a worldly man who later became an alcoholic, like living with a volcano. And when he was drunk, he's all over you. Hard liquor was just not a good thing. Less than stellar upbringing in one sense. However, through my mom's prayers, when I was 17, evangelist came through town and shared with us. And I told the Lord, no, I'm going to stick with my music right now. Well, just a few weeks later, I broke my thumb and wasn't able to play anymore. And by the time I made it out of high school, 23, I wanted to be a naval officer and was going all over the world, which was a Merchant Marine Academy, which also had an option to become a naval officer. And in the process of traveling around the world and seeking the Lord, and I know it was because of my grandmother's prayers, I went all over places to churches and stuff that I wanted to see, seeking the Lord, but not knowing Him. I knew about Him, but I didn't know Him. And one day I was tired of it all. The ship was going from Australia to South America. And the reason the way I know it's the farthest point from land is I went out and asked them on the bridge where we were at, and they told us it's the farthest point away from land. And I says, well, Lord, I'm tired of this. And I thought about just going to the bow of the ship in the middle of the night and jumping off. Heck with it. And I was inclined, that kind of individual, to go for it. So I went to the bow and checked. I says, Lord, if you will, show me. Just at that moment, I got blasted like Goofy sticking his finger in a light socket. Wham! I was hit, and he was real, and I knew it. And I'm glad, because I didn't really want to jump off that boat, but I would have. But he was so real to me that when I started walking down the steps to bunks where we laid and stuff, a guy saw me and says, what happened to you? And I said, man, Jesus is real. And he looks at me, yeah, right, what have you been smoking? Okay, that was a real good start. But anyways, prayed to the Lord. I asked Him, I wanted my ministry to be my work. And so the Lord provided that for me. I ended up working in state prisons, California Youth Authority with the youth, and later on with the men. I became a youth counselor, correctional counselor, and all I had to give them was Jesus. And I had to pay attention. And with my background, I felt home in prison because you never knew what was going to happen. Other than that, I've had the pleasure of serving Him till today. And thank you for this day, Lord.